What's up guys, my name is Khan and we're back today with more Gearblocks, and today we're going to build another kit because I've had a lot of people request that I build one particular kit just because they're interested in what my opinions are on the kit, and I thought it would be a pretty good kit to do. And today that kit is of course going to be this four-wheel drive buggy here, right here. Four-wheel drive, 67 build steps, 258 parts. And I'm kind of curious about this because I am curious to see how the dev actually does an all-wheel drive system. So we're just going to go through it pretty quickly. I mean, the first little bit is obviously going to be just assembling some chassis components. And so we'll get that done relatively quickly. And then we'll kind of just skip ahead here a little bit until we get to the, the sort of interesting stuff. Most of these kits generally start with you having to build, a frame and an actual proper looking chassis a little bit. And, not the terrible chassis that we build. They usually actually are pretty involved, the devs chassis. So we'll just kind of skip ahead and then we'll get to the interesting stuff because I am very curious to see how the dev actually does the four-wheel drive system, what kind of knuckles he uses on the front steering, and of course how he connects the drive axles to those front wheels. Back wheels are pretty easy, but if this is a four-wheel drive buggy, it's going to have suspension as well as, a front knuckle system, possibly CV joints going through those knuckles. So I'm curious to see how that all works, and, it'll be exciting to build that kit up. So let's just keep going here, and we'll go until we get to some exciting stuff. And not that kit building isn't exciting, but, these are some elaborate frames. It's kind of cool. It seems like the dev actually sort of enjoys making unibody frames, which is interesting, where the whole frame is like one big outer piece. All right, so we're getting into the first piece that moves. I don't exactly understand what this actually is for. It's like, yeah, we put both these as rotate. It's like a little rotating axle, but I don't know what that's for. It's like an offset axle that rotates, and then weird. Yeah, I have no idea what that's for yet. These two here, obviously, these are going to be for the side steering. So this is going to go here, and this is going to go here. These are going to be for attaching our front A-frames, that hold our wheels, I'm pretty sure. That's what these axles look like, but I don't know what that one center axle's for. That's kind of interesting. I'm sure we'll see what it is. Maybe it's some sort of like cantilever suspension type system or something. I don't honestly know. I don't know what the deal is with that, but we definitely are getting to the front. Like, this has got to be the front, right? Because that's going to be, the seat's probably going to go right in front of here. This is going to be going towards the front. These are going to be, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what that one bar is for. It's really, really confusing to me. All right, nice. Now we're building the support structure for the suspension, I'm pretty sure. So we have to just put these, oh boy, yeah. Wait. Oh, this one goes low. Okay, like that. Interesting. I noticed too, the dev is kind of cool with his builds. He doesn't use any of the node bridging technique. I'm not sure if that's because like the node bridging technique came after the builds, but I'm pretty sure we'll see that the suspension on this is going to be linear. It's not going to actually have the node bridging technique where you can build, diagonal suspension pieces, which is fine. But like, if we did that, obviously we can make suspension a little more compact, and then we can do all sorts of things like add no clip parts as well. And there's a few tools I think he added after creating the game and after creating some of these kits that I think really, can help a lot. I accidentally put that axle in there. There we go. Perfect. But yeah, this is going to be for sure linear suspension, although I don't understand why there's two. This is probably the top A-frame bar. There's probably, like, this is probably the bottom A-frame. This is like the top for a double wishbone setup would be my guess. And then this is actually where our suspension pillar attaches to. This is the one part of Gearblocks that I think I got to get better at, is making some actual decent looking body panels. The dev does such a good job of making body panels look really good, and I'm just flat up terrible at it. Why is that not... Is it... I don't know why that's not... Weird. It's like lined up, but it doesn't seem to... Well, it's all attached. But there's no, like, look, that doesn't have an attachment. Oh, it doesn't on his drawing either. That's so weird. Why does that not attach to that? They're clearly attached. Oh, well, doesn't matter, I guess, as long as the whole car stays together. All right, looking good. Now we're attaching the major drive axle. So this is going to go through the entire center of the car. How is this going through? It's going through that beam there. How far forward does it go? Okay, it goes... Oh, that's going to be a transfer axle. Oh, that's what that's for. Yeah, we're going to... See, we're going to... Okay, so this needs to spin, spin here. Right? Wait, what? Is that flush with that? Yeah, okay, there's only a gear that goes to there. So then we use a straight drive gear here? Weird. That's gonna get fed by the motor? This axle doesn't actually go all the way through the car. This just feeds the front wheels. And then this is gonna go to here. And then this is gonna be like, see, we're gonna have a transfer axle here. It's gonna transfer power from the drive axle to this. And then this is probably gonna go to another sort of gearbox system here that'll transfer to our CV joints or something. That makes sense. But I don't understand why this doesn't, I don't know, it's weird. Doesn't drive, doesn't go all the way to the back wheels. So we're gonna have to have probably a secondary axle that goes to the back. That makes a bit of sense. Or like these axles, these might go to the back. One sticks through here, right above there by one. Okay, that's interesting. And then this one sticks through this piece. Oh wait, no, other side. My bad, I did this the wrong way. This sticks through here by one. There we go. Yeah, so this is our rear axle. And then this one sticks through there by one. So it's going to take power from that gear up to here, and then that's going to drive through something. I don't know what's going to go in between those. Maybe a differential or something? A differential. Yeah, that would make sense. So your back and your front have two separate power settings. You've got a differential between the front and the back wheels, and then presumably you've got a differential on the rear as well, and a differential on the front. Yeah, that's what you're going to do. You're going to put a differential here as well, and a differential here. So we're going to have triple differentials on this thing, just to make sure that we can actually, what's the word I'm looking for? Distribute power correctly between all the wheels. This is actually really, really cool. I like that a lot. That's neat. The triple differential setup. The old Audi transmission configuration, where you have a differential on each of the wheels. Although, in real life, if you do this, you got to have, like, symmetrical differentials, right? You got to have even power between the front and the back, or you have to have limited slip. Otherwise, your differentials wouldn't deliver power correctly, you know? I've actually snapped a stub axle on my car before. It's not called a stub axle. It's like I don't know what it is. It's like the little, on a front wheel drive car, there's two little drive axles that go from the center differential out to the wheels. I snapped one of those once. And when you do, the differential sends all the power to the snapped axle, right? It doesn't actually, it doesn't keep any of the power on the axle that's still intact, because that's not how differentials work. So it's kind of interesting. Where the freak? Oh, wait, what? Oh, I put this backwards. There we go. It's gotta go this way. I noticed the dev likes to do this with a lot of kits too, which is like two motors for extra torque. I haven't seen a creation use a large motor yet, but I guess they're just too large. You're gonna have to start doing this in race cars. I've only been using a single motor, but I probably have to do two just to deliver enough torque to actually get the vehicle moving. All right, time to drive this differential setup. So we're just gonna put gear there. Nice little diagonal mesh. That's another thing I gotta work on, is diagonal mesh distances. I've always been doing straight mesh gears, but you could obviously save a lot of space if you do diagonal mesh, as long as the gears have enough, distance to mesh with each other. So that's something I should probably consider and start working on a little bit better, because we could save a lot of space with gearboxes. I wonder if you can make a planetary gearbox in this game, because you could do like a rotating axle, and you could do gears attached to said rotating axle, which would kind of let you do planetary gears to an extent. It might have to make a relatively big gearbox, but you could probably do planetary gears, because you could have gears diagonally, and the game doesn't care if the gears start mesh as long as they end up meshed. So I'm pretty sure it would be possible. And here we go. This is the first set of CV joints here. So these guys are going to go right there. That's interesting. Wait, is that... Hold on a minute. Oh, these go there, behind that. There we go, perfect. And then this goes there. And I'm assuming these are gonna... Are they gonna drive like a worm? No. How the heck is that gonna work? Oh, they're gonna drive a crown gear. Yeah, they're gonna be crown gears. Oh, okay. Oh, wait, no, it's another yeah, it's the other differential. That's right. Okay, that makes sense. I'm curious to see how this is actually gonna behave. I feel like it's gonna be one of the better driving cars, simply because every single wheel is only gonna get power as it needs it, and we've got complete independent suspension as well as complete all-wheel drive. So it's gonna be kind of cool. We'll see how this goes. Now we need the other half of the CV joints. Perfect. And that's, of course, delivering our power to our axles. And, of course, now we actually have to build the knuckle for the rears, which is way back to there. Perfect. And it's going to need some pivots. Nice. And now, wait, what? Oh, yeah, okay, this is the A-frame or whatever. Let's call, what? Oh, right. I'm missing a piece. Okay, that goes there. That goes to there. That goes to there. And then I need to delete. How do I delete those connections? Do I just, right, I just delete them. Perfect. That stays connected. That gets deleted though. There we go. That's an interesting one. You gotta actually remember to delete connections. And then this goes here. Hello, that's for our suspension. Perfect. And then this is there, this pivots, and that also gets deleted. Okay. I think that's done. Weird. On the instruction, there's like a piece floating there. Do you see that? There's like that black piece floating off the axle. It's like a brake pad or something that we haven't done yet. It's still there. It's on both sides. That's weird. I don't know what that is, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. Now we're gonna do this side. Same setup, of course. I think the dev made some redundant axle spinning here. Like, I'm pretty sure if we look at this, these ones are set to spin. Yeah, but then these are also set, like, see there, we've got a double, like, both of these joints don't need a spin. That axle can just free spin like crazy against both. It doesn't, I don't think it matters, but they're both set to spin, so the axle could be free spinning, when in reality it could be attached to one of the two parts. Oh, it is attached at the bottom. See, it's supposed to be. But I don't think it really matters. This one's probably supposed to be fixed too, but yeah, we can do that. Like, this all spins, that all spins, that all spins. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Just an observation. I was wondering why these were too long. Apparently, it makes sense. You can't actually. There's a collision there that happens with the top of the piston, so that's why it's got to be set like with a too long axle instead of a one long axle. Again, we could do node bridging with no clip, and that would work just as well. But I was just curious about that. There we go. So that goes like that. Boom, done. And then this goes like that. And boom, done. Perfect. That's gonna be sick. This is just gonna go, like, this is 100% a double wishbone, so this is just gonna go up and down, but it is gonna camber in slightly. Which, I mean, I guess it has to, because the CV joint axle can't expand, so it would have to get slightly shorter in distance as it goes up. And because this axle here, like this pivot point is offset from this point, it's gonna kind of slope in on a bit of a radius as it goes up. That's kind of cool. That's a really smart design. Literally one of the coolest builds. I can see why everyone was suggesting I build this in the comments. Like, this one is actually super neat. Once you start getting it, like, the initial frame stuff is whatever, you know, it takes a bit to set up the initial frame things, and, you know, you just kind of have to do that. But once you get past that, the axle part and the drive assembly of this is wicked cool. It's like the quadruple Audi system going on there. I just realized those need to rotate as well. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. You always gotta, like, double check your work sometimes. This one should go, it was one space off, right? So it should go there. Now it's lined up. Yeah, I had the pillars too tall. Wrong orientation. I find these pieces are some of the hardest ones to actually attach, these little sloped guys, because they've got two sort of directions. You know, on one side, they're a little bit steeper than the other, depending on the dimensions. I mean, you can scale it however you want, but they're sometimes hard to visualize on the little builder screen. I think we're right there. That looks good. All right, let's install the rack, of course, which goes right on that little single point. Done. And then the top frame bars. Yeah, that's what these are. Nice, that fits. Does that has to swivel there. Excellent. And then same deal there. Perfect. This thing looks super cool. This feels so RC whenever I do this kind of stuff. Like the, I said ball joints in a previous episode and people got mad at me for calling them ball joints. I don't know what they're called if they're not called ball joints, but in RC it's a ton of this kind of stuff where you just have little ball joints connecting all your different suspension linkages together. Like even our suspension itself is always ball joint to ball joint just because it's a fully flexible connector that lets you move in any direction, right? But generally speaking, that's how it's set up with the RC stuff, and it always feels very RC to me when we play Gearblocks and we get those ball joint connectors. Like this kind of suspension with the swivel, if this was RC, it would be ball joint here, ball joint here. The ball joint's threaded, so you thread the ball in, you thread it in on this side, and then you snap both the balls in on the top and bottom of the suspension. Inside here, you would have oil for sure. You've got an oil dampener with a piston inside each of the suspension pieces, and then you have a coilover spring when it comes to RC, like bigger RC stuff. The smaller RC stuff, you probably just have the spring without the oil damping, but you can have oil damping on small stuff too. It's really, really cool. But anyway, there we go. Suspension. Do these have... I can't adjust settings. I'm pretty sure they have damping and stiffness in this game as well. I'm not positive on that one though. Our batteries. Now I know a lot of people have said like, oh, well, you don't actually need batteries in Gearblocks, and that is kind of true, but not really. There is a setting in Gearblocks you can enable to actually enable battery consumption, and then in which case we should probably honestly do that when we start building vehicles from now on. We should actually enable battery consumption, but there is a setting that you can enable that enables battery consumption or power consumption, and then all of a sudden all your stuff does in fact actually need power, which is kind of interesting. So the dev builds creations with power. I'd be curious to see how long power actually lasts in this game, because you know, it's a thing. And obviously if the dev makes combustion engines, then that's going to be a whole other thing as well to have to deal with that. So that'll be cool. Tires, nice. What we want to see. Perfect. It's the only way to check if your suspension works is drop it on all 4 tires. Give me back tires. Yes, let's go. Excellent. I'm going to drop this thing as soon as we get these tires on. I'm just very curious to see if the suspension works. I'm assuming it does. I mean, you know, it probably does, right? There we go. Let's drop it. Oh, that's so good. That's so sick. Oh my god. Are you serious? Okay, I don't have any steering. That's interesting. And I don't really have drive either. Okay, so that's a few problems that exist. That's fixed, that's fixed. That is allowed to swivel there. That's allowed to swivel there. That's good, that's good. Those are fixed. This differential's fixed to that axle. That axle's allowed to swivel. That's good. Oh my god, I literally have to check every... There, see, that's not allowed to rotate. That's not allowed to rotate. So there's problem number 1. Okay. You gotta literally check every freaking connection. That's a ball joint. That's a ball joint. So that should be allowed to swivel. That's allowed to swivel. That's allowed to swivel. That's a sliding connection. That's allowed to swivel. That's allowed to swivel. That's fixed. That's fixed. That makes sense. That's fixed. See there, the belt is fixed. That's the problem. There we go. All right. So now, there we can turn, and we can drive. Perfect. Oh, this thing's wicked. Oh my, the suspension on this is so good. Look at the loading on that. This is one of the things that we struggle with in RC Drift is, well, it's not really a struggle. It's just like, you have to have suspension that's soft in Drift, but also like hard at the same time. It's kind of weird. It's like your suspension has to be as soft as you can possibly make it, like absolutely crazy soft. You want the vehicle to roll into corners. You want it to shift its weight You want the weight transfer to happen so that your car like engages. You want it to have loading under throttle versus no throttle. So if I give the car a lot of throttle, I want it to load the rear axle, which is gonna give me more traction in the rear, less traction in the front. Same sense when I hit the brake, I want it to put that weight and transfer that weight forward and load the front axle with weight so that the front axle grips up more. It's really, really cool. We'll have to do a video at some point in time where we talk about some of the mechanics of RC drift cars. And don't get me wrong, I'm not an expert. I've just talked to some people who are experts and really know what the heck they're doing in terms of making really, really good high-performing drift cars. And they've helped me tune my stuff to actually be good. But it's really, really cool if we look at the way it works. Like, the suspension setups in RC is just absolutely insane. And so you need this, like, really weird, like, it's kind of soft, but not soft suspension. And it's hard to explain, but it has to have enough give to like push back against everything you do, but be so soft that your vehicle, like, you know, the throttle input on an RC car is not super high. So it's got to be soft enough that it can respond to even the minimal throttle inputs that you're putting down. And it's just a really, really cool setup. We're just gonna finish up the rest of these body panels though. I'm assuming that's what the rest of this stuff is. I wish I could get this back on the grid super easy, but of course you can't. If you freeze it, it's on this diagonal grid, doesn't really matter. But yeah, we'll just finish this up and then we'll go drive this thing. All right, perfect. Now we just gotta save this thing. We're gonna remove the invulnerability because I think that's gonna be great. And we're gonna save this as the all-wheel drive buggy kit. Now let's go take it to a world and blow it up. All right, so here we are, of course, in the desert proving ground. Just because, you know, this is the place that has all the fun stuff to test suspension. I love the way this thing drives, though. It's like, the way it loads each tire with the 4-bar. Oh, it's so good. Let's see what it does. You know, again, we've got collisions turned off. That's nice. Does okay on the small bumps. Loses a few body panels. That's so good. What body panel did I... Oh, just one of the bottom pieces. That's fine. All right, let's full send it. Okay, it goes pretty quick. And even at full speed, it can turn and... Oh, no, yeah, no, it can't turn at full speed. I love the way it takes jumps though. Like it actually can handle a bump pretty. Okay, oh my god, we lost both rear struts. Okay, I lied. It can't really handle a jump as well as I was thinking. It likes to stay upside down too when you flip it over. It's wicked cool though. Like I gotta make some 4-wheel drive vehicles. I can't believe this has a triple differential, which is now apparently, oh there we go. Yeah, it's so cool. I love good suspension setups, like on, oh my god, that rear though. If you take a jump, look at that, the whole rear just falls apart, the rear frame. And then the two attachment points for the rear axles, like the rear A-frames, the back, it doesn't matter. We have front attachment points too. Doesn't need both. Okay, it needs something though. Maybe we can actually just drive like a little bit. Let's drive nice and calmly and see if we can get somewhere. Like back to our proving ground spot. That's the one thing this game needs, actually. There's a fair amount of racetracks. I know the dev is a solo dev, and he's, like, working super hard on combustion engines. But there is a racetrack, like, for a bunch of different racetracks on pavement. But I don't think there's a dirt racetrack, which would be super cool. Because, you know, we can make buggies and off-road vehicles. And it would be cool to have a dirt racetrack that had a series of, you know, bumps and jumps and that kind of thing. And, like, whoops and all that. Where we have to, you know, actually try and send it. Let's see what happens if we hit these bumps at some speed. Actually, not bad. You know what? That's actually pretty flawless. That's pretty flawless. It doesn't even care. Well, it doesn't like taking jumps very well. Let's try a different scenario. Let's see if there's another racetrack we can jump into. All right, of course, we're on the classic inner loop. Might as well try this on a racetrack, even though it's not really a race car. Got them big off-road tires. It does have a little bit of drift, though. I'm not sure if that's because of the differential or because of the suspension. It's probably not meant to go very quick. And we lost a wheel. Are you serious? That's all it takes. That's all it takes to lose a wheel. It's just a little bit. You know what? I don't even know why we're trying to race this stupid thing. Yeah, look, like, I'm not even touching anything but W. But it seems like once it starts to get up to speed, the suspension doesn't like the high speed. Or maybe it's the differentials that don't like it. I'm not sure. It also doesn't like braking either. It doesn't have braking on the wheels. It only... Oh, no, it does have braking on the wheels. Wheel brakes S. Oh, that's why the dev did it that way. Yeah, no, this car... See, it likes to bounce a little bit. It does get that camber adjustment, like I was saying, though. As the suspension goes up, the camber slopes into it. And we're just completely wrecked. The roll cage does its job, though. Look at that. We're still alive. No problem. But yeah, this thing is super cool. Wicked cool setup. I love the triple differential setup. I think that's awesome. You know, I've seen cars like that before in real life. I think it's really, really cool. It doesn't really track straight as a result. But again, I don't know if that's the suspension setup or if that's just something to do with the differentials or what the deal is there. Oh, we are so dead. Yeah, just completely... Oh my god, look at the parts. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Of course, thanks for Gan for the suggestion of building this kit. I think it's one of the cooler kits for sure. There is a front-end loader kit as well that I would like to try because it's got, you know, a little bit more complicated things going on. It's obviously got like a front bucket and stuff like that. So that would probably be another cool kit to try. But of course, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I do want to build some of my own vehicles. I'm definitely going to have to build my own all-wheel drive setup as well, like an all-wheel drive race car. And I do want to build some proper rear-wheel drive race cars to actually, you know, put down some decent lap times on these courses with proper suspension setups and all that stuff. And oh, this is a cool course. Never actually been over here before. I like that hairpin up there. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure, of course, you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And we'll see y'all next time. Oh my god. The roll cage, though, that's worth its weight in gold.